Katie, come on over here and let's give you a round of applause. Katie is Grand Poobah of our McClintic School of Highland Dance, because your last name is?
McClintic.
All right, tell us about your great school and your dancers.
Well, we have been in the Grand Rapids area for about the past 10 years. Before being located here, I was actually in Alma, Michigan, which, if you know Alma, its nickname is Scotland, USA. So I danced and taught there for many, many years before coming to Grand Rapids, and then started a dance school here 10 years ago.
So what is a Highland dance?
So a Highland dance is a traditional dance from the Highlands of Scotland. The dances all have some sort of story or background, some sort of purpose, or they're honorary. And so today, as we go through the show, I'll be sharing a little bit about each dance. I think it helps people appreciate a little bit more about what they're seeing and understand what's happening on stage.
Quinn, what question do you have for
You know,
Kate?
I'm just excited to see. I see the stance before we get started here, and I know we're in for a treat, so I'm really, really excited over here.
Anything else you'd like to say, Katie, before we hear from your talents?
Well, I'm going to say a whole bunch throughout the show, so I think we're ready to go. And before these girls dance, I'll talk about this one. Sound good? All right. All right, well, I'm going to scoot out of the way here so you can see these ladies. But I just want to draw your attention to the fact that they are not wearing kilts, which you probably know is the traditional Scottish attire. But it is traditional for men. And originally, women were not allowed to wear kilts, like I am right now. That officially started during the World Wars, when all of the men were sent off to war. But the women wanted to carry on the traditions and the culture. And so they started taking up Highland dancing and competing and doing performances and starting wearing kilts. So then in about the 1950s, at a competition in Aboyne, Scotland, someone decided that women needed to have their own costume, appropriate for women, of course, in the 50s. And so they came up with what the girls are wearing here today, and it's actually named after the town where it debuted, so it's called an Aboyne dress. And instead of wearing the traditional kilt, the ladies wear a tartan wool skirt, very nice and full, with a big tartan plaid over the shoulder, and then their velvet petal vests. And so this is their traditional outfit for women, and it's used for certain dances. A bunch of them you'll see today. They're called Highland national dances. And so most of those today, you'll see this dress. But ladies, let's see well, first we'll see the Village Maid, which is a story kind of about a young woman in Scotland. She goes to town, and it's sort of a little flirtatious dance. She's having fun. She's having a great day, skipping through town and just, trying to get the attention of those around her and interacting with people and having a good time in the village. So ladies, let's see the Village Maid. Thank you, dancers. You'll notice that the girls were not always doing the same thing at the same time, and that is completely okay. For Highland dancing, there's something called a Scottish Official Board, and they determine all of the steps and the movements that dancers are allowed to do, and there's a whole wide variety. So at some points in the show today, you'll see dancers doing the exact same thing, and then at other points, you'll see all of them doing something completely different. And that doesn't mean anyone is wrong. That just means that they're doing different steps, and those are all sanctioned and okay. And all of the dances that you'll see today are competition dances. So these dancers have traveled all around the country, some into Canada and other places, competing and winning all kinds of medals and trophies and money, all kinds of prizes. So we're going to transition now from that beautiful, lovely sort of balleric dance into a military dance. You'll see these girls are wearing the traditional Highland kilt and the women's version of the top that goes with it, which is this long-sleeved velvet jacket with the buttons down the front. And they're going to do a dance called the Highland Laddie. And this is a sort of a military and a tribute dance to the Highland Laddie, who was Bonnie Prince Charlie. A lot of the Highland dances originated around the time of Bonnie Prince Charlie. And if you are an Outlander fan, you know when that was. So ladies, let's see the Highland Laddie. Thanks, ladies. Up next, we have a dance called the Shawn Cruise. This is a very, very old, very traditional Highland dance. And Shawn Cruise is actually Gaelic for torn trousers. This commemorates the time in Scottish history when the English banned all things Scottish. They took away the kilts, they took away the bagpipes, they took away the dancing and the food. Anything that was considered Scottish was outlawed. And so the Scottish people then were, of course, required to wear pants, British trousers. So at the beginning of the dance, you're going to see these dancers kicking their legs and shaking their legs because they want to kick off those confining pants. They don't like those pants. And then at the end, you're going to see the dancers clap, and that is to symbolize the time when all of those things that were banned, all of the Scottish culture, was allowed to come back in. It was no longer illegal. And so it's a celebration at the end. The music gets faster, and the movements change significantly because the dancers aren't restricted by their pants anymore. And today you'll see 3 of our dancers have their kilts on, and one has her Aboyne dress because she has to dance again very soon and didn't have time to change. But typically this dance would be done by everyone wearing a kilt. All right, ladies, let's see the Shawn Cruise. right. Thanks, girls. All right, next up we have another military dance. This one is called Wilt Thou Go to Barracks, Johnny? And it's actually a military recruiting dance. A long time ago, these Scottish soldiers would go out with their commanding officers and into villages, and they would take a bagpiper along, and they would dance this dance to show off their strength and their agility and their stamina, and in hopes of recruiting some more soldiers. So it's called Wilt Thou Go to Barracks, Johnny, as in, won't you come join us in the military? So today we have some of our most advanced dancers dancing this for us. And ladies, let's see the barracks. All right, before you dancers leave the stage a second, you'll probably notice that each dancer is wearing a different tartan and a different color and a different combination of top color and their kilt. And that is because in Highland dancing, we get the luxury of choosing which tartan we wear. So unlike in Irish dancing where they win their dresses and they have to earn them, Highland dancers get to choose whatever tartan they like, whatever color they like, and that's what they get to dance in. And some of our dancers actually have their clan tartan, their family tartan, those who have a little bit of a Scottish heritage. Some of them have chosen their clan tartan. But so each dancer wears something different, and it's all completely based on their own preference. All right, ladies, thank you, barracks dancers. Up next, we have a dance called the Blue Bonnets. Back in the day, a slang term for Scottish gentlemen was a blue bonnet because it was very trendy for a long time to wear blue hats. So they became known as blue bonnets. So this dance is a flirtatious dance. These girls are going to town and they're trying to get the attention of the blue bonnets. And these dancers are top-level dancers. They're called premier, and so they're eligible to compete anywhere in the world in pretty much any competition they want, and they're eligible to win titles, everything from, champion of Michigan to the country to the entire world. And so these girls work really, really hard. They go through a lot of practice and they train a lot. And so they've gotten to this top level, which kind of gives them the honor of being able to compete anywhere in the world. And so, ladies, let's please see the Blue Bonnets. Next up, we have a 4-person dance. It's called the Strathspey and Half Tulloch. And in Highland dancing, this is considered a reel, and we have a whole bunch of different reels, and every reel is danced with 4 dancers. Now, the tricky thing about this is that while these girls know each other, and they dance together in class all the time, when you go to a competition, because we compete individually, we're never in teams, you're always individual. When you go up on stage, you may have never met the other 3 people you're dancing with. You don't know what they're going to do. They don't know what you're going to do. And so you have to be sure that you really know your part, and you kind of hope they do too, and you have to learn every spot of this dance. And you have to be able to do it without really even thinking too hard. You have to practice it that much so that you can do any position, because you don't know what you're going to be until you walk up on stage, whether you're going to be on the left, the right, the middle. You find out when you get on stage. And you find out the people you're dancing with at that very same time. And there are a whole bunch of different steps and different ways to do this dance. So you really have to know your way so that somebody else doesn't mix you up. The story behind this Strathspey and Half Tulloch dance is that a long, long time ago, on a cold winter's Sunday morning in Scotland, the minister was late to church. The parishioners were all there, and they were cold. It was snowy, and so somehow they managed to get in the church. And to keep warm, they started jumping up and down and moving around. And before long, they decided that they would dance together. But there's not a whole lot of space to dance in a church, because you've got your pews and everything. So they decided they'd have to dance up and down the aisles of the church, up and down the aisles of the pews. And so they danced in a straight line and weaved in and out and around each other. And sometimes they linked arms and did some fancy things together. And so today, when we do our reels in competition, the dancers dance in a straight line, and they are actually judged on how straight they keep their line. You are not supposed to get off of the line. You need to stay on it, even though it's imaginary. So you have to really know where other people are and have a sense of what's happening all around you. And then the dancers will link arms, and they'll dance together at a few points, and they'll do several different steps from each other. And so they have to be really aware of what's happening. So ladies, turn to your places. And let's see the reel. Thanks, girls. Up next, we have another Scottish national dance. So this dance was originally intended to be done by women, but boys do occasionally do it in competition today. Originally, it did start only as women. And they're wearing their aboyne dresses, so the female version of the dancing outfit. And this dance is to commemorate Flora Macdonald. It's called Flora Macdonald's Fancy. And they say that Flora Macdonald was Bonnie Prince Charlie's girlfriend, and she helped him escape from the British. She actually dressed him up as one of her maids, dressed him as a woman, and set him off in a little ship across the sea from the mainland of Scotland to an island across the water. And they say that as she watched him sail away successfully, she helped save him, that she danced this dance on the top of a cliff. I don't think that's really true. But actually, Flora was actually arrested for helping Bonnie Prince Charlie, and she was put into prison. But the Scottish people loved her so much, they put up such a fuss that the English finally let her go. And so today there are all kinds of memorials to Flora Macdonald, and this dance is one of those that continues on at competitions and shows throughout Scotland and everywhere else that there's Highland dancing. So ladies, let's see the Flora Macdonald's Fancy. All right, next up we're going to have our littlest dancers take the stage. So this might take a minute. They have little legs, and it's a big stage.